Good morning. Today we're going to be taking a look at XRP, Bitcoin, some projections for XRP itself, liquidity, potential fractals, VLO data, and the Sigma coin. We got a lot. All right, so I'll do my best to keep it within 10 minutes. So, all right, so here we go. So we had a couple different views here on XRP that we were exploring yesterday. One of them was the rollover scenario for the main video, but I did do an additional follow-up repost of that video giving us the bullish count that we could potentially be looking for, which is a bullish rising wedge. And that is what we got. So the cool part is we have now completed wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of our bullish rising wedge in our channel that was ultimately giving us this bullish count. And then we had an ABC once we lost the final kind of wedge of that fifth wave and came back into demand. Then ultimately now we are impulsing and leaving our way out of this range with a 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I would even argue that this potential move right here may even just be the beginning part of wave 3, because this is all wave 1 and wave 3 needs to be longer than wave 1. So this would just be wave 1 and 2 within that wave 3 degree. So really wonderful. The key area that I'm looking at, just to confirm full breakout for XRP, is clearing 251.74. In that breakout, and we exceeding this, then this wave 1 move will have exceeded the measured move, in case this is still a bearish count. And this view right here is in fact a mid-range ABC, and then and so we reject. So that's just the one key area I'm watching, just to ensure that we can clear across of it. But that is what is really bullish, and this is now our rising wedge for wave 1 that has played out off the lows. So looks pretty solid. Again, this is the level we need to clear, is $2.52 roughly. And as long as we get above that, then we should be good, and we can start continuing our ascent out of here for our 2, 3, 4, and 5 waves, taking us probably all the way back up into this region, back into the 280s. So, all right, so now jumping over to Bitcoin, how are we looking over here? Well, Bitcoin's doing great as well. So Bitcoin had the potential same equal measured move that it needed to clear 110.275 here on the Bitstamp chart. And we had our alert there, and sure enough, we did last night. We broke above it, and we then actually got up to the 1.236. So this is wonderfully leading, and this too now is an impulsive move, and you can see that this would be our wave 1, wave 2, and now we're in our wave 3 move. This would be 1, 2, and then this within this wave 3 we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we just keep going. So you'll see a lot of within this third wave of wave 3, you'll see a lot of this kind of good stuff here, where it just doesn't give you an entry. So so that's realistically what we're going to see as we move out of here. And if we can clear this level here, any rollover potential of a new lower low is most likely negated at this point. So that's what we're aiming for. So all right, now let's jump into volume. Okay, so here's Korea. This is an intriguing view of how Korea is kind of playing, because now remember, Korea does not use leverage. They only use spot. So forced selling of the asset tends to be either through stop losses or panic, right? So we can see that on the low that we received here on October 16th, Korea did have a massive selling pressure into this. Some buys showed up, but not very many, as we've been grinding our way out of here. Liquidation cascade came over, and again, you can see that the liquidation cascade led to massive selling, and then it's just kind of been chop ever since, right? So we just kind of ranged here in this view. Now, context-wise, you'd say, okay, well, this doesn't look very great. I mean, they're just not showing up to buy, and that's potentially a concerning view, where we're really just seeing kind of volume taper off at these lows, as uncertainty is leading to people not to invest into the asset, okay? Well, knowing where we are, let's make the assumption. So if we zoom out and we say, okay, so here we are, and we have our massive wave 2, right? So if we're making the assumption that we have now completed a large degree wave 2, and we've gone from this high to an ABC down, ABC up, and then this would be our 5 wave down capitulation spring over here for the flat, where we end up doing a larger ABC move. So we got our A leg, our B leg, and our C leg down, and we're just working through a range, right? So with this assumption, so we're going to make that assumption that this is the case and that this correction is done, you can see a pretty big volume spike down here at the lows, and then you end up having a not a huge absorption. Now, what I would like to point out though is that if we take this volume profile and we carry it over to the same area of where our wave 2 finishing move was, this is our wave 1 for back in 24 off the lows. Then we had this long ABC correction for a wave 2, so we ended up doing an ABC correction for this again running flat on XRP. And notice that when the capitulation bottom came in and we started grinding off the lows, we had this final last kind of like, oh no, it's over kind of thing. Not really shown with a lot of volume. You can see there's more volume like right here in this one. This final capitulation move led to just a slow march up, and the volume slowly marches up as price action continues to increase. And then it's not until we actually start to get near the mid-range did people go, oh, wait a second, is something happening here? And then the volume starts just massively picking up as people start having more and more euphoria into this run here as it moves to the side. And then you have like peak liquidations here when this is not sustainable for the 5th. So ultimately, the idea being is that on a wave 3, which is what this was, and which I speculate we're moving into, a wave 3 move, you don't actually see the volume show up right away off of those lows. It's when we start clearing really, really aggressive highs into this region. Do people say, oh, okay, now I see it. We've actually broken out. Now I'm ready to go, right? And so that's when everybody showed up to the party, is when we were within those retrace levels of this overall move. And I bet you we can even run a retrace here. So if we do this and we go here, and yep, once we started clearing, you can see that the volume started clearing right when we cleared the 786 on the fib, is when the volume started showing up, giving us the breakthrough, and that's what led to the parabolic run of our wave 3 move. So it was just a technical level that people had to feel confident enough that we had cleared the high portion of the range before we went. So taking that same information back here, again, we see a big volume down spike. We see some volume coming in, but nothing major. My speculation would be that if we see a return to this prior high on the price action and we start moving through this level here, which would be the 786, you could actually expect that this would be where the parabolic move would happen. So we got to get back up to here. For those in the US dollar version range, you'd be looking at a move back up to here, which would be $3.10. So if we start clearing 320, that's when everyone's going to be feeling warm and fuzzy coming back to the game. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. But right now, this is in fact, in my opinion, a rising wedge pattern, and we are now within that wave 3, getting ready to go higher as we go. Now this is stuck because Coinbase is down because of that cyber attack. So the real price as of right now is 247. So we're actually grinding pretty nicely out of here. So there's your real live price action. Okay, now liquidity. What do we got? 2 weeks of worth of liquidity here. Oh, everybody's short. Okay, we're like, oh, well, that's bullish, right? So everybody's down here. They wiped out everybody that they had shown up to the party down here, got them all taken out, and now it's go time to the upside. Now, how could we potentially leave this zone, right? So if assuming that this is we're going to go back to our larger degree move here, assuming that this is our wave 1 off the lows, and let's go to this guy. And with this assumption that this is our first move out of here, and then we're now moving into the next leg, when we go to the prior price action, the same area that we were looking off of the lows, where this is impulsive off back in 25, you could see that we have a wave 1, wave 2, and then that move ultimately has a parabolic wave 3, 4, and 5. Then we come back and back test these levels, closing some of the gaps before we continue on. So I feel that if for those who are looking at the chart and saying, well, that's a pretty big gap right there, I'm concerned we'll come back and grab it. Well, that may be for later, right? And that's again shown by the now more parabolic run that we're taking on this next leg. So that's super bullish. And then finally, let's jump over to our velo data. What are we seeing here? And this is actually really intriguing. We are seeing price action go up here at the top. We are seeing open interest go up. And we're like, okay, all the longs are showing up. Oh, no, they're not. It is going down. And we can actually see that people are betting down, thinking this will roll over one more time, and they're becoming the fuel to the fire that's leading to price action go higher, which is why the volume isn't there. And retail is showing up because they are market buying. So you can see that this is actually moving up. So market buying is occurring. The people who are betting against this bet are doubling down, and they're going up here as price action continues higher. V bottom, friends. That's exactly what this is. This is a V bottom. We're out of here. The wave count is in. It is wave 3 of the wave 1 move, and we are seeing a lot of great stuff. And with that comes our Sigma coin. So Sigma had its very clear defined 5-wave move off the lows that we were looking for. A shallow ABC taking back part of the gap. Bam! All the price action shows up. Now we're in that wave 3 parabolic run, and I would easily argue that these targets are likely coming back up into this supply, into this demand, but I could be wrong. I mean, this could stretch way further, and we can actually clear this move over here of 2 million plus. So buys at 1.36 would be doubled here, moving into the potential next layer of where we are before we even begin our wave 2 breakdown. And just think kind of like this, right? It could just be a euphoric move all the way back into above the prior high. We could be a euphoric move all the way back in to above the prior high, and then we come back in and we just do a quick back test in here. So this may get us back into the 3-4 million range before we even back test on Sigma. I just was showing these for just kind of reference. These are not targets on where we are. For fun, let's just see if we can measure out a quick target just to see if this gives us any reference here. So if we grab, let's go to the shorter time frame. So if we come down here and we grab this level, and we know that that's our wave 1 finishing move, and that's our wave 2, a full extension move of this leg here would take us up to 2 million. Yeah, so I think 2 million is pretty easy for a target for this next leg, and I could see that being, we've already exceeded this way. Yeah, it may even be more, just based off of how aggressive this is being. So, but yeah, we'll just check into it, but that would be my guess as to the next leg of where this would end, would be around 2 million. And we would then work on our first correction, kind of back testing into that region from there, if we're so lucky. So basically you can buy now, run it to 2 million, try again at a later point, or just wait for the back test, hoping we even get it. And again, this back test may come back down into the full wedge, kind of come in here, or stop halfway, just like the price action did halfway up the mountain before we continued on our ascent. So yeah, the process is looking great. So to recap, we've got XRP overall here on the volume profile, not yet showing up a ton of buys coming in, but it's going to eventually when people get to the wave 3 move. Bitcoin cleared the level we needed it to, is up at the 1.236 and should continue marching higher, wanting now our new target to see this guy clear the 116 and preferably even higher. And then we've got Korea showing us the volume profile that, yeah, yes, big selling, but not a lot of buying. Have we seen this before? Yes, we have. Yes, you've got the big selling event right over here, not a lot of buying, and then all of a sudden everybody buys when they clear that 786. Just like they're over here, they get up to the 786, and away we go. Because that will confirm to everybody we've now broken above the resistance level, and we're now back testing for support, and we go. So that confirmation is what people are looking for, so they're willing, and this is fine, they're willing to not gamble at these lows because they want to see price action move up here 20%, back test it, hold support, then go, then they'll chase, right? So they're like, I'm not playing that crap. I don't want any of that. So they're like, I'm just going to sit back and wait in the event that that does happen. So you have that liquidity. There you go. And look at that, right up to 310, right where we want to be. And then you have a potential of how this would play with the back test and the breakout. And finally, the velo data showing that the shorts are doubling down as they're massively loading up, and yet price go higher, and retail coming to the party. And finally, Sigma giving us a huge impulsive breakout off the lows, very, very bullish, and will continue as volume increases and people return to the XRPL for returns. So it's time. Be ready, and I'm excited. So we'll check in tomorrow, and thanks so much for watching.